Hi there, Brett Hornby here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel here. If you're new to this channel, I cover Calgary sports, both the Stampeders, Flames, Hitmen, and Roughnecks. So if you enjoy that, make sure you can follow me by hitting subscribe and liking this video. But also I like to post scenery videos when I'm on holidays where I go west of the Canadian Rockies or east of the prairies and post those scenery videos and any other personal vlogs that's on my mind. I'll post an odd one here and there whenever I see fit, but mostly I'm going to be covering Calgary sports, and I feel that this is a perfect time to give a little channel update here, as I mentioned here and there in my past videos plans and how I'm going to cover it, but I think it'd just be more effective to give an update about everything in general, especially now that we're in mid-September here and sports starts heating up here in Calgary. You know, signs that the summer's over is that kids are back in school after the Calgary Stampeders beat the Edmonton Eskimos on Labor Day and the snow starts flying. That's how you know that summer is over in Calgary. So anyway, this is my channel update here, and I have scratched down my my agenda on how I plan to present the Calgary sports content going forward. Especially, fall's approaching, hockey season's heating up, and then we've got lacrosse season, and the road to the Grey Cup is on for the CFL, including my Calgary Stampeders. So here's my plan here. So I'll first start it off with the channel update here with the Calgary Stampeders. I am still going to continue doing my Calgary Stampeders this month, where I do recaps on how the Calgary Stampeders did on the month before, which those videos come out at the end of the month, of the said month during the season, from June till November. And I'll still continue on with that. We still got September, October, and November. And then what I plan to do for the November video is that the Stampeders play only one game in November, and that happens to be actually the last game in the CFL schedule, where they're in BC. So my plan is I'll do a recap of that game, and then since it's the last game of the CFL on the CFL calendar, the whole standings will be decided. So from then on, I'll just cover the standings, what happened in the season, and then my plan is that I'll do a bonus my Calgary Stampeders this month after the playoffs, and hopefully, given that they've been the cream of the crop the last several years, I'm expecting them to be hoisting the trophy with red and white confetti flying around them, just like I witnessed when I was in Vancouver at the 102nd Grey Cup in 2014. But either way, I'll do a playoff recap. And then speaking of playoffs, since there's only 5 games for the road to the Grey Cup, I'll actually do a preview of the East and West semifinal, East and Western final, and the Grey Cup. And I'll break it down by each facet of the game, and I'll give out the storylines, how the season series went, and then if you play the CFL Pick'em on the CFL.ca website, not the TSN Fantasy, but just the Pick'em, where you decide who you think is going to win, and you give your confidence level. I'll make my Pick'em style, where I say I think this team is going to win, and I'll give my percent confidence in that. So basically, that's going to be my plan on how I'm going to cover the Calgary Stampeders and the CFL with the road to the Grey Cup here. And my plan for the playoff previews is I'll at least record it, and then I'll try to have it uploaded just before the weekend, so you have time to watch the video before the games on Sunday, which, in case you don't know or just need a refresher, the semifinals and the finals are going to both be November 11th will be the semifinal weekend, where the Eastern game will be 11 a.m. 1 Eastern, and then the West game will be 2:30 p.m. Mountain and 4:30 Eastern. and that's the same for the final. And then the big game will be November 25th up at the Brickfield Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, and that game always starts at 4 Mountain, 6 Eastern, so the same times, the same Sundays will be the case for when the CFL playoff games come to fruition, so watch for that. So the last thing I'll do about the CFL is, if there's any major Calgary Stampeders news that warrants another separate video besides my recap of my Stampeders this month. Let's say if they made a major trade, or something controversial happens, I'll make a separate video on that. And then this whole season in the CFL, the biggest news has been Johnny Manziel, and I felt I wanted to make a video on the Johnny Manziel trade just because of the return that the Hamilton Tiger Cats got for an unproven commodity. And this has definitely been, let's say, an interesting journey on Johnny Manziel this year in the CFL, and it's been interesting for reasons why you don't think. So I think at the end of the season, I'll revisit that trade and figure, I said at the time that Hamilton got a pretty good return for an unproven commodity, but it's been lots of drama in Montreal since he's been traded there, and we're only past week 14, so there's still another 7 weeks to go. So I'll at least do a revisit trade video at the end of the season. So that's pretty much everything I'll have for the Stampeders and the CFL in general. That my Calgary Stampeders this month, plus playoff recap, and I'll do my playoff previews for the playoff games leading up to the Grey Cup, and I'm sure I'll throw in a couple moments here and there about leading up to the Grey Cup, or hopefully, I'll maybe get a post-game reaction if we win, being the Calgary Stampeders. But let's get there first. So now let's lead into the next segment. Obviously this team gets the most attention in Calgary is the Calgary Flames. This is just an old third jersey. I don't mind these. This is a horse. Some people think it's a donkey or a dragon, but it's a horse breathing fire, and I think the best scene that's example what this is supposed to be. I think there's a movie called Batman Begins, and I think there was a scene that there was a black horse snorting fire, and that was a perfect, at the time when these still wore these jerseys, that that's what that's supposed to be. But anyway, let's talk about the Calgary Flames, and just like the Calgary Stampeders, I'll do my regular recap video, but instead I'll call it my Calgary Flames in 6 or 4. I'll get to why I got 4 as well, but I'll do that at the start of the season. Actually, I'll also do after the preseason at the end of September. I'll do a recap of the Flames, how they did in the preseason. That they've actually have 10 games on the preseason schedule. But what's unique with the Calgary Flames this year is that the Calgary Flames and the Boston Bruins have already played their first game over in China, so there's definitely a lot more preseason action than usual, because Calgary's dressed several teams, because mostly all the big names, the veteran players, have gone over to China, so we definitely have a lot of our younger guys still here in Calgary, either just filling out the roster, because there was a ton of professional tryouts and guys jockeying for a potential position to be, either on the team or maybe the first one to come to mind when, injuries or performance comes up from Stockton. So my plan for that is I'll be doing regular recap videos every 6 games, which if you do the math, if you do every 6, and it's an 82 game schedule, it only gets you up to 78, so then the last 4 games I'll do my Calgary Flames in 4 for the last 4 game segment of the regular season, and hopefully maybe it's the build up to how they're playing out the stretch because we're in the playoffs, or maybe hyping up the are we going to get in this year. And I just personally think if you look at all my other videos during the off season and all the changes that the Flames have made, I expect them to get in this year. But the Pacific Division I still say is wide open, but it's also gotten a little stronger this past week, especially with Vegas getting Max Pacioretty from Montreal and the San Jose Sharks getting Erik Karlsson from the Ottawa Senators. So those are two divisional foes that definitely made some big impact moves there. But getting back to the Flames, their first game of the season is October 3rd. They open up in Vancouver. That's their regular season. And then the first game at home, which will be October 6th. Once again, they'll be playing the Vancouver Canucks. So that's will be when the season starts. And I said I'll plan to do recap every 6 games, and there'll be one 4-game segment, just how the math works with the 82-game schedule. And then hopefully there'll be some playoff recap, like I'll do a series preview and series recap, assuming the Flames get in, but I'm only going to focus on the Calgary Flames in this season. And of course, if there's any major news, let's say like changing the coach, trading away top defensemen like Dougie Hamilton, for example, I'll jump in front of the camera and make a video on just that move alone. Anything minor, like a minor trade or call up, call down, that will show up in my recap video. But you know, coaching changes, trading away a potential franchise player or any franchise players, that will warrant its own video, which is what I've done in the past. So that would be everything I plan to do with the Calgary Flames in the 2018-19 season. Now let's go to the Calgary Hitmen, which is our junior team, which is in the Western Hockey League, part of the CHL, the Canadian Hockey League Network, where we develop a lot of superstars from who are in the NHL today. You know, started their time in the WHL or CHL. I mean, I'd say the best Calgary Hitmen players that have had pretty good NHL careers up to this point are guys like Ryan Getzlaf, who has been very successful at the Anaheim Ducks, and then Andrew Ladd, who's been, you know, a role player in the NHL. I mean, he's won a cup with Carolina, he's won a cup with Chicago, and now he's with the New York Islanders. And then the most recent, most successful player is Martin Jones, the goalie for the San Jose Sharks. So that's just an example of Calgary Hitmen. But with the nature of it being, it's not covered as much as the Flames and Stampeders, we'll see how it goes when I recap. Mostly just going to recap scores and, you know, any regular contributors, and I'll look at the rosters to see how many players that, you know, many players to watch out, or who to get drafted in 2019, or whose property of teams right now in the NHL through a draft. I'll do a recap, but my recap will be my Calgary Hitmen in 4 or 6. Once again, I'll do 6-game segments. Actually, this year for the WHL, to line up with the CHL, the WHL used to play 72 game seasons, which every 6 games would have worked out. But now they're going to only play 68 games. So my plan is I'll do 10 6-game segments and then 2 4-game segments for 64 to 68 games. And then that's what my plan is for there. And actually the Calgary Hitmen, as of recording this in the middle of September, they actually played their 6 preseason games, so I'm in the process of putting my notes together and doing a recap video, try my first recap video on that, and get a feel how I'm going to do that for the Hitmen and even the Flames, because I've only been doing recaps of the football, but I think hockey's going to go through a little quicker, even though I'll have more games, just because there's more events that happen in a football game than in most hockey games. I mean, if there's a hockey game where, you know, fights and brawls break out or somebody gets hurt majorly, you'll be talking more about that than, oh yeah, by the way, this is who won the game. So the Calgary Hitmen have played their 6 preseason games already, and then their season starts on September 22nd. They'll be starting in Kootenay, which is one of the big rivals of the Calgary Hitmen, the Kootenay Ice, which actually dated back when they used to be the Edmonton Ice, and then they moved to Cranbrook, the heart of the Kootenay Mountains. Now we're west of Fernie, which that's where the Kootenay Ice play. But the home opener for the Calgary Hitmen will be September 29th. They'll be playing the Edmonton Oil Kings, who is also another one of their big rivals with the National Battle of Alberta. So already the Calgary Hitmen will have a few games played in the regular season before the Flames and the NHL gets going. But as I expect regular game recaps, I'm going to say both with the Flames and the Hitmen, 6 games on average. I'm going to say there'll be a recap every couple of weeks, which will allow me to keep pumping out content. And then lastly, the Calgary Roughnecks. And the Calgary Roughnecks, I'll do my Calgary Roughnecks this month. Just like with football, the lacrosse plays every week, so you'll get 3, 4, 5 games a month. So that's the perfect length to do a recap. Maybe I'll get more of you guys interested in all the minor sports. But the Calgary Flames Sport and Entertainment Group owns the Hitmen, the Roughnecks, and the Calgary Stampeders. So it's all going back to the Calgary Flames, the principal owners. But the lacrosse season, that's not going to start till December, and it goes till April, and then the playoffs go in May with the NL playoffs, which definitely works out perfectly, because right after the Grey Cup is over, that's when I really start getting more into the winter sports, because the first quarter of the season is over, and generally that's where you have an idea who's for real and who's for not. I mean, some people look at American Thanksgiving now as a guide on where your team is at, if it's already time to play for pride or still stick with it, because it's harder to play catch up in the competitive league. But that's when I really start following the hockey and lacrosse with the CFL season and the cup handed out. So I said the season starts in December, and the schedule actually came out recently for the NLL, so that the Calgary Roughnecks will start their season December 1st in Colorado, and the home opener will be a couple weeks later. So they'll be playing December 15th at home against Vancouver, and they're playing on the Canucks. Actually recently bought the Vancouver franchise, and they were the Vancouver Stealth, and they were playing based out of the Langley Event Center. But there's speculation that they want to change the name of the franchise, and I know there used to be a Vancouver Ravens team, but I guess stay tuned to when I start doing my Calgary Roughnecks this month to find out what the Vancouver franchise will be named. So yeah, that'd be my plan, to cover the 4 Calgary teams. That's just the bread and butter of my content. And how I'm going to cover these is, I can give the best coverage, especially being live, because I've got season tickets for the Stampeders, and starting this season I'll have season tickets for the Calgary Roughnecks. But even then, the Flames, you could still watch every game on Sportsnet, follow every game on the radio, and say with the Hitmen. But the Hitmen's a different beast, so I still casually follow the Hitmen, but my work schedule doesn't allow me to, go to games during the week, since I have to be up early, and if games don't end till 10, 11 o'clock, it's midnight by the time you get home, and when you got to be up at 4 or 5 in the morning, it's not practical for me to get season tickets for the hockey. But I always try to go to the odd hockey game here and there too, but it's easier to always follow the games live on TV as well. So that's the gist of my update for my Calgary sports content. Any other content, as I mentioned at the start of the video, I'll still be posting out, moments that taken in that sport events, let's say at the Stampeder games, or, games at the Saddledome, being the Flames, Hitmen, or Roughnecks. I always get intrigued on how to get fans into the game with the, when they introduce the players. And in case of football games, I mean, actually recently when I was up in Edmonton, you could see my videos about how they celebrate the 40th birthday or anniversary of the Commonwealth Stadium. They had a nice laser light show and fireworks show, and then I know that you can watch for my fireworks video. Calgary Stampeders always have that light up their night thing, and actually at the next home game at the end of September there, where they take on the Toronto Argonauts, there'll be a fireworks show. So I'll still be posting videos there, and I'm hopefully in 3 weeks, Thanksgiving weekend, I'll make one more trip to Valemont, Mount Ross and Provincial Park. And actually with all the smoke that was there, I wasn't able to do, I was planning on doing a video and lake montage and all the stops along the Icefields Parkway, but because the weather wasn't ideal and crowds are too busy, so hopefully I can maybe put that together. And then the personal vlogs, there's no regular schedule that I got planned for personal vlogs. That's just something I decided to start doing, and that's something I'll just put out periodically, whatever's on my mind, if I really need to post something for the week. So personal vlogs, I mean, it's all going to be mostly stuff that's on my mind, or maybe it'll be the odd rant here, and so that's what my personal vlog platform is going to be. And there's some rants that I thought about doing that I'm going to either put some more thought in, or I had some rants that I thought maybe I'll hold off until it gets reignited, political rants or service rants. But that'd be my personal vlog. So mostly my personal vlog is all going to be about, my experiences about something. That's what you see in the title there. But, that's basically the gist of my channel. I try to post something at least weekly, and I figure now that I've been doing this for, several months now, after I decided to be more active on this platform, I'm able to post something weekly. I try to at least post something weekly where I'm at least front of the camera. So, I mean, thanks for everyone who's subscribed up to this point, and I mean, if you enjoy everything that I do, make sure you subscribe and, hit that bell icon if you need to know right away when I post something. In terms of when I regularly will post something, most of the time I'll be able to post something easily on the weekend, because that's when I have the most time to stand in front of the camera and do the record thing. But it's all the prep work beforehand and all the editing you got to do after, and hopefully it uploads. Sometimes it uploads very slowly or quickly, or technology sometimes it hiccups. But if I do this during the week, usually what happens if I post something during the week is that one day after work I'll have time to jump in front of the camera and at least get in the can, and then the next day that's when I'll do the editing and that, and then be able to do the uploading, which I'm just sticking to posting something weekly, because I don't have a full-time production crew, or everything I do is all by myself. And I mean, I'm not big enough yet, or I'm very anxious, intrigued to know how far this will take me if I become a regular contributor on this platform. But I still got career responsibilities, life. So the weekly is perfect for me to be sustainable, and the nature of the channel. I mean, there's always going to be something different to post. I mean, that's one thing that's exciting about going to a sporting event is it's not like a movie where you watch a trailer and the actors and that. Sporting event, you're always going to get something different every time, and things that make you laugh, cry, happy, sad, everything in between. That's the beauty of spending your entertainment dollars on sporting events. So anyway, if you enjoy everything I said, this is my channel update on how I plan to cover Calgary sports and all my other stuff in between as of September 2018. So make sure you subscribe and hit like and hit the bell icon if you want to know when I post something new as possible. For all my existing subscribers, I say thank you so much for subscribing and taking time to enjoy my content, which, sometimes I get amazed at what people watch and what people don't watch. But anyway, just to close it out, I just want to say thank you, and I'll see you at the next video, which is either, personal vlog, Calgary sports content, or, if I'm on the road enjoying the scenery, which I hope to do in a couple weeks to catch some fall foliage. So I'll see you at the next video, whichever video it is you like to follow.